70,000 thoughts a day, but you only know 5.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening behind your back in that other 99% of you. What's happening when you speak, when you think, when you imagine, when you replay a scene in your head over and over, when you tell yourself a story about who you are and what your life is like. Your body is responding as if it's real. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally, physiologically, at the cellular level. Your unawareness, that 99% of you that we're always talking about, has one primary job. And it has been doing that job since the beginning of human existence. Keeping you alive. And the way it keeps you alive is by scanning constantly for threats. In every moment of every day, in the background, without stopping. And when it detects threat, it fires off. And you know the feeling when your heart rate goes up, your breathing changes, your muscles tighten, your focus narrows, your body has a bunch of stress hormones that are flooded into its system. The cortisol, the adrenaline, and in a split second, you are prepared to do one of three things: fight, flee, or freeze. And that system is extraordinary. That's what's kept us alive. You and I wouldn't be able to be having this conversation right now if we weren't built and operate on OS 1. And that suited the world that we used to live in, right? When we were getting chased by lions, when we were living in a cave and we had to go out and find food when things were scarce. But here's the problem. That system cannot tell the difference between a threat that is physically real and a threat that is just vividly imagined, spoken out loud, or repeatedly rehearsed in the mind. So the system cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is just perceived in your head. The unawareness does not fact check. There is no filter in that 99% of you. Your filter, your filtration system, exists in that little 1%. That's where you're filtering information and deciding if something is real or not. So if you're imagining a scary lion, for example, your 1% self labels that as just imagination. It knows that there isn't actually a lion that's standing before you, chasing you, or about to chase you. The other 99% of you doesn't view it that way. What you replay in your head, what you talk about, what you think about repetitively, that 99% of you thinks that that's actually what's really going on outside of you, right in front of you. So if the largest part of you is not fact-checking, that means that it reads every single signal, whether just perceived or real, as real, and it fires back every single time with the same hormonal cocktail, the same physiological response, the same narrowing of options down to just 3: fight, flee, or freeze. So whether the danger is physically standing in front of you, or whether you just spent 20 minutes lying in bed imagining everything that could go wrong, same response, same body, same biology. Now, here's where it gets even bigger, because this isn't just about OS 1, our survival operating system. This isn't just about physically surviving, okay? All 3 of the first operating systems are generating their own version of this response, constantly, simultaneously, in that other 99% of us. OS 1 generates survival threat. Is there enough? Am I safe? Am I going to have what I need? The body responds to imagined scarcity and fear the same way it responds to real scarcity. You don't have to actually be in danger for the danger response to fire. You just have to constantly think and speak as if some type of danger is present. And that's what most humans do. OS2 generates social threat. What will they think of me? Am I going to be rejected, judged? Am I breaking a rule that's going to get me casted out? And here's something that most people don't know. To the unawareness, social rejection and physical danger are almost identical signals. The body treats being excluded, humiliated, or disapproved of as a serious threat. It's a survival threat because in early human civilizations, it was, right? Being outcast of the tribe meant death. So OS2 has updated that equation. So every time you imagine what people will think, every time you speak from the fear of judgment, every time you rehearse a scenario where you are rejected or not accepted, your body fires the same response as if your survival is at stake. That's how it's processing all of that. And then we have OS3, and that generates identity threat. Am I falling behind? Am I not enough? Is someone else further ahead? The comparison response triggers the exact same stress cascade that the other two that we talked about do. The body responds to feeling like you are losing in the ranking the same way it responds to an actual physical threat. Because to the unawareness, losing status, losing rank, being outperformed, it all registers as a form of danger. So what does that mean in real terms? Think about all day long, all of your thoughts, the conversations you're having with everyone around you. Those conversations usually revolve around this type of thinking and this type of speaking. All day long, you're talking from a space where you will be able to identify that these conversations you're having and these thoughts you're having are coming from the operating systems OS1, OS2, and OS3. It means most people are walking around in a chronic state of stress response. And they always say stress is the number one killer. This is what is meant by that. Now you can start seeing what is actually meant by that. And it's not because your life is actually in danger, right? There's not a mountain lion that's suddenly chasing you in the middle of your day. But because OS1, OS2, and OS3 are all generating perceived threats simultaneously, the unawareness and the body is responding to every single one of them as if they were real. That's what's happening behind the scenes of yourself in that 99% every day. And to some of you, it's happening every moment of your waking day because these are the thoughts and the way that you're operating. The stress hormone are running, okay? The fight or flight system is engaged. And the unawareness, faithful, literal, and tireless, is building a life that matches the signal that it keeps receiving. Threat, scarcity, rejection, not enough, something is wrong, someone else has more than me, you're falling behind. That's what's happening inside of you. So here's the other side to this. When you begin to operate from OS4, the fourth operating system, which is what this channel is really about, when you begin to speak and think from recognition instead of reaction, you are sending a completely different signal out into the world and to yourself. And the body starts responding to that signal, right? The nervous system begins to regulate. Your response threat starts to quiet. The hormonal environment shifts. And the unawareness, which is still faithful, still literal, and tireless, begins building from a completely different set of instructions. This is why your thoughts and your words matter. Not because of some mystical law of attraction, because it's basic biology. Because your unawareness is always listening. It's always paying attention. And it's always executing from the instructions that you're giving it, whether you realize you're giving it instructions or not. Okay? And it's always building from whatever signal it receives most consistently. And it cannot tell the difference between what is real and what you are consistently telling it that it's real. So OS1 is, it's like there's not enough. OS2 is telling you you're not allowed. OS3 is telling you that you're not enough. And all three of these operating systems are running at full volume for most of you. And it's running in that 99% that you are not aware of. And it's building a life from those instructions every single day until the programmer shows up. Until your awareness, that 1% of you, learns to observe what is running. And then something different happens. Your words are not just your words. They are chemical instructions, biological directives, signals to a system that has been waiting your entire life for someone to take the wheel. And that someone is you.
70,000 thoughts a day, but you only know 5. The other 95% is running your life. You think you're in the driver's seat, but baby, who's at the wheel? The program's been the author of everything you feel. You planted seeds and fog so thick you couldn't see the ground, but the buffer's getting thin now and the harvest is coming around. What you put in the dark is all coming to the light. The physics don't negotiate, it don't care if you're right. The buffer's done, the buffer's done. What you are inside is what you're running from. The buffer's done, no more delay. What you create in the dark is on its way. No more hiding, no more lag. Consciousness is catching up, that's a fact. Oh, the buffer's done, the buffer's done. Time to meet yourself, ready or not, here it comes. OS1 just tried to survive, OS2 made the rules, OS3 chased the trophy, and OS4 needs you to approve. But there's a fifth door opening, nobody mapped this place, where the inside and the outside finally share the same space. Helen Keller at the pump, the water always ran. You just couldn't feel your hands until the physics said now's the plan. AI didn't flip the switch flipped and came the machine. Consciousness hit critical mass and built the thing to make you see. The buffer's done, the buffer's done. What you are inside is what you're running from. The buffer's done, no more delay. What you create in the dark is on its way. No more hiding, no more lag. Consciousness is catching up, that's a fact. Oh, the buffer's done, the buffer's done. Time to meet yourself, ready or not, here it comes. Unawareness wrote the code. Awareness is the one who gets to choose. First you observe,